Got to be real.
Be real. Be real. Yes, guys. So I've just seen the weigh-in between Paulie Malignaggi and Danny Swift Garcia, and I'm gonna say this right. I'm so glad that I've picked Danny Garcia to win this fight. Paulie's still got a good chance, yeah, don't get me wrong, but it's not one of them fights where I'm thinking really 50-50. You know what I mean? Like, I'm siding with Danny on this. I think Paulie's got the ability to outbox Danny, but there's a few things which I'm looking at which are making me think, nah, it's just not going to happen. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be very difficult for Paulie Malignaggi to outbox Danny. See, firstly, Danny Garcia is not that much of a bad boxer as much as people are making it out that he is. He's not that much of a bad boxer. I mean, he struggled against Mauricio Herrera and Lamont Peterson. Big whoop to do. Herrera's a good fighter. He is a good fighter. Peterson's a good fighter. Khan was outboxing him till he got knocked out. Good fighter. And I think like people put too much emphasis that Danny Garcia is this really, really, really bad fighter. I don't think he's that bad. Straight up, I really don't. And I think mixing the size factor in, like looking at the weighing results, Danny Garcia next to Paulie Malignaggi, Danny just looks huge. And you see, here's the thing: when we were looking at Danny Garcia, and I haven't seen Danny Garcia and Mauricio Herrera face to face like since the fight. You know, the weigh-in. I took a look though. I went back and looked at Danny Garcia versus Lamont Peterson, similar height. Danny Garcia versus Amir Khan, similar height. Matisse was a little bit shorter but stocky. And then you've got Danny Garcia versus Rod Salka, was tiny, obviously. So I'm really interested to see this fight, like, because in my opinion, look, man, Paulie's a small guy. He's small compared to Danny Garcia, right? He's small. So I think when we're looking at this fight, I think come on, man, like, I think when Danny Garcia lands that left hand or that right hand, whichever hand it is, I think Paulie's got a good chin, but it's gonna hurt him, and I think that's where the fight's gonna play out. I think Danny's gonna hurt Paulie, but something I'm looking at is what if he doesn't knock out Paulie in them shots? What happens? Can Danny Garcia bag rounds? That's gonna be very interesting to see. Can he bag rounds, or can he finish Paulie off? I think the chances of Danny Garcia losing this fight are slim, because I think he's got the capability to bag rounds based upon aggression, youth, size. He's not as good of a boxer as Paulie is, but he's a good enough boxer to mix it with Paulie. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's going to be really interesting, but I'm telling you now, I'm siding with Danny Garcia. I'm sticking with my prediction. I think he looks massive. I think if at any point that left hook lands, it's lights out. It's lights out for Paulie. Paulie's got a good chin, but I still think that punching power at 147 is going to be a lot of power. And let's face it, like, Paulie hasn't really beaten anybody massive at 147 pounds. I mean, who's he beating at 147 apart from Senchenko, Zab Judah? You know what I mean? Like, Danny Garcia is a different fish, you know. But you know, there is that thing there that Danny Garcia can't. He's not a good boxer. You know, there is that there, and he struggles against boxers and movers. But I don't think Paulie's that much of a mover as much as Lamont Peterson. I don't think he's got it in his legs anymore. I don't think he looks very good at the weight. I mean, we're talking about Heredia, and there's all this stuff going on Instagram about needles, and you know, like, take a look for yourself. But him being exposed, so to speak, and I'm not going to talk about that stuff. It's a fishy topic which I don't really want to talk about. But to me, Paulie doesn't look. He don't look no ripped bodybuilder at 147 pounds. He doesn't look how he used to look at when he was in his prime. You know, he doesn't look like that. He just looks a little bit old, a little bit. He's a sort of Carras-ish, you know, that sort of physique. He doesn't look like the old ripped Paulie Malignaggi. He's old. He's knocking on. Danny Garcia is young. He looks fresh. He looks ripped. He looks on it, man. They're both like just under the 147 pound limit. Danny Garcia was, I believe, 146.6. I forget Paulie Malignaggi's weight. But fight's on, man. I'm really looking forward to it. Something that I've noted is Paulie Malignaggi got caught by Adrian Broner with the straight right. Danny Garcia's got a pretty lethal straight right. He drops Zab Judah with it. Zab Judah's got a decent-ish chin. He's not really got a bad chin. I don't think it's as good as Paulie's. I picked Paulie Malignaggi to beat Zab Judah, and he did. But I still think that Danny Garcia at 147, I think he could take Paulie. I think he takes him. I think that right hand's going to hurt Paulie a few times. It's going to hurt Paulie, wobble Paulie. And I think if Adrian Broner beats Paulie, which I don't think Adrian Broner ever beat Paulie, I thought Paulie won that fight, but the judges gave it to Paulie. I think if he does it, my opinion, I do think Danny Garcia does it. I think he's got a higher work rate. He's going to be fitter, ready, got something to prove, fully fledged 147 pounder. And at 147 pounds, the speed decreases a little bit. The fighters aren't as fast as they are at 140. So definitely, I'm going for Danny. If he loses, he loses. If he gets outboxed, he gets outboxed. I'm not saying he's the best boxer, but I am saying that I think he's got enough in the tank to beat Paulie Malignaggi. No disrespect to Paulie. Leave your comment section below. Make sure you subscribe as always. Let me know what you guys think. Who you guys picking to win this fight? Paulie Malignaggi or Danny Garcia? I'm going for Danny Swift. Garcia, the young hungry lion who's looking superb at the weigh-in. He looks on it, man. His core looks massive. His body is just, you can see he's been hitting the weights. You can see the power's going to be there 100% top to bottom. He's a perfect 147 pounder. He just looks the part of 147 pounder. He don't look like a 145 moving up to 147. He looks like a 147 pounder. I'm looking forward to see what Danny Garcia could do. He is what he is. He's a guy who can punch. He's a boxer who can punch. No, he's a puncher who can box. That's what Danny Garcia is. Let's see if Paulie can deal with it. Paulie just got annihilated by Sean Porter. It's been, I'm not going to go into it, but it is what it is. Adrian Broner, Sean Porter, Senchenko, these are the fights. And then you look at Danny Garcia. He's had a few bad performances, but I mean, you look at his overall record, like of recent, and he's young, and he's, it's not like that's his yesteryear. He's hitting prime potentially in this fight here, 147 pounds. Comment section below. Subscribe as always. Danny Swift Garcia, in my opinion, that straight right hand is going to land exactly like Adrian Broner landed it. Danny Garcia drops Abjuda with that. I'm expecting that punch to land and hurt Paulie at the bare minimum. Comment section below. Subscribe as always. But can Danny Garcia bag the rounds and win on points if he can't win by a knockout? A bit.